Hi, everybody. Let's have a good week, all my trading warrior brothers and sisters. So I want to start, I'll get to the currencies, but I want to start with what happened in stock indices. And it's very important that you pay attention to these videos. In fact, I'd like to refer you back to last Tuesday's interview. It's really not an interview. Mike and I get together every Tuesday and share ideas, and he shares his sectors, and I bring up certain points. But last Tuesday, the day started with, logging into TradeGATEHub.com. And Mike seen some huge volume coming in, which was indicative of a turn, perhaps a short squeeze. And when we were on, I was showing NASDAQ down here, and I said, Mike, there's very good divergence here. And, Mike was already getting long, even caught the big pop in Chinese equities after their smash as well last week. So, I don't look to duplicate the call that was made last week. Turns like this don't happen every week, okay? So anyway, we were talking about, I said, Mike, the fangs all look good to me, that even Facebook could rally. And we were talking about Apple was a pretty important topic that we had as well, because here's the daily. Before we thought the market would bottom, we thought Apple would take out the 200-day. And then I posted this in TradeGATEHub main trading room main chat, mission accomplished. And look what happened. Okay, so Apple did what we thought it would do, first to the downside to get the shakeout people. Some people were talking 138. Maybe they get it after new all-time highs or failing rally, but big trade, 15 bucks in Apple. You had a nice little pop in Netflix, which is a broken stop. Microsoft, not as great, but still nice rally from last week. Amazon, Tesla, and Mike has some even better examples. And I said, it looks like even Facebook, which is, again, another broken stock, could rally. And it had a little bit of a rally. Google had a nice rally. Google actually has, besides Apple, the best technicals there. Anyway, I want to point out that if you miss our conversations on Tuesday, you could be missing out on some nice trading opportunities. Okay, so let's get to my bailiwick, and that's currencies. So let's talk dollar. So here's the way I see the dollar. And last Wednesday, I said, look to sell dollar strength after the Fed. And that did work. If we go back to, an intraday chart, this was the Fed. Okay, so if you sold dollar strength, you had a nice trade there. You had a nice trade in euro as well. That was it. Okay, then if you faded dollar strength, you bought the dip there. You may have bought the dip in cable as well. Aussie's been a superstar, continues to outperform. But what about now? So the interesting thing about the break that we had in the dollar after the Fed is where it held. And this to me is a classic bull bear line. So I think there's a possibility of one more high in the dollar, but that's, I think. This is, I believe there's a high probability of a top in the dollar with closes back under this 97.70 level, 97.50 level. This is going to change the whole tone of the dollar. But in the meantime, we could have one more pop to the upside. And let me ask you guys, I've been teaching RSI for, I don't know, year and a half here on TradeGATEHub. What makes me think there is a possibility of a new high in the dollar before a failure? Anyone know in the house? How about on YouTube? Okay, it's because if you see the high in the dollar right here, and you look at the RSI reading, which was almost 80, it was a confirmed high. It took out all prior RSI readings, and so this is a confirmed high. And normally markets, this was a high, but I don't believe it was the high, only for this reason, is that you had a confirmed high. Confirmed highs usually lead to another high that may or may not be confirmed. So that's my view in the dollar. I don't believe that euro is going to take out 108. If the dollar does rally, I'm thinking euro probably could be bought around 108.70, 108.80 on some type of pullback. We're still flirting with that 1040 level. We've closed above it once and gave it back. We've closed above it twice and trying to give it back. Not sure if it will. So, I'm not shorting the euro here. In fact, I'm not looking for any dollar buying opportunities going forward, at least until there's a correction in the DXY that takes us back to, say, the 94-ish level here. Okay, maybe then. So I'm looking for a pretty good break in the dollar. The question is there one more hurrah or not? This could be a wave 4 triangle, which implies wave 4 that there's a 5 left, and 5 meaning terminal. So we'll see if we could get it maybe up towards par. But I don't believe euro will take out the 108 level. I'd be looking at euro weakness against the pound in EG as a buying opportunity. So, the euro could break to 78.6 back. I would be a willing buyer in EG about 70 lower here at the 61.8 level. And actually, this little formation here on a breakdown of this moving average measures there. So this is an area this week, if we get there with some more dollar strength, one more high in the dollar, or even if EG just sells off here, I'm not going to play the short side. But you can see how EG has worked off its overbought condition. This, unlike the dollar, did diverge. So this could just be, a correction of this, which was a very powerful week. You could tell when what the trend is, even if you're not an Elliotician, which I'm not, by just the velocity of how a market could get from point A to point B. So we got very overbought here, and all we've done is move sideways to relieve the overbought condition. And I'm betting that if we break to 50% or 61.8, this RSI is going to be, down in the 30 range or lower. So it will be pretty oversold on just a fib correction. Looking at gold, when I look at it here, I can see the potential of at least 3-wave rally that could take us up to 1970, 1980. Similar formation in silver outperforming a little bit, that perhaps we get something equivalent to this. So this was about a $1 rally. So $1 rally from here could take us, 25.70 or so, but not looking for new highs. Think that there might be even a shorting opportunity after a $40, $50 rally and $1 in gold and dollar rally in silver. Copper still looks negative to me, but let's take a look at the gold silver ratio. Yeah, it's just moving sideways. It keeps trying to fail. Look how it's compressing. If you had Bollinger Bands on this, it would be showing the same thing. And one of the things that Bollinger teaches about the bands, I'll share it with you guys, is when you see the bands compressing and converging, that the first move out of those bands, the first breakout is a fake out. So just something that maybe you want to monitor a few times when you see bands coming together like that, is that the first move out of the the vortex, or the just the apex of it, is not the trend, that it's a fade. So just something to keep an eye on. that's what's going on here. I don't know which way it's coming out of here. Copper, I'm still negative on copper. I think that was an important high that we had here, but just like gold and silver, you know, we could still have another wave. What would this be? 25 cents from here, take it to about, gosh, all the way up here, 490. So that could be a failing rally. Tells me that there's most likely some more upside in equities. So when I look at S&Ps here, we're approaching this big pivot at 45, 45 and a half. I know some people are looking for sales at 46. So the $1 million question is, was this an intermediate term low and we're blowing to new highs like some of the bulls think? Or is this just a dead cat bounce, a short squeeze? I mean, last week, if the shorts were squeezed so hard like this, that their eyeballs were popping out. Anyway, so is this just a short squeeze? It's going to lose momentum up here. When we were going over the NASDAQ last week, I said to Mike, you know, maybe NASDAQ could rally back to 15,000. You know, that's possible, could do it in a few days. And perhaps this is a nice failing rally to sell. When I look at some of the FANG stocks, only a few look pretty good to me. And Apple being looking the best out of that group anyway. So we also have to talk about yields because they're blowing out again today. Look at this. I was early on TLT. So we're trying last week's highs in yields, but we're diverging again. You know, it's surprising though, and this is interesting. 10-year yield is making a new high or testing the high, and US dollar yen, you know, way outperform yields for a few days. I wouldn't be long yen. A trader associate of mine who's been very bullish yen for a long time said that, you know, he's cautious out of most of his longs and a little concerned about what might happen after fiscal year end in Japan, which is at the end of the month. So it's only another week or so away. I wouldn't be long either. You can't declare a top until we get back under this throwover, which is 1780. That's a line that for months I've been forecasting we'd get through. I certainly did not predict that we would blow through it. I've seen some long-term trend lines that show this as a major, like, you know, 10-year breakout. It's probably on the monthly somewhere. Why don't I see if I could find that? Because it is pretty significant. Oh, that's 2012. It goes back even longer than that. But, you know, great month with a few days left. And I'm tempted to fade it, but I'm just going to, you know, let it develop a little bit more. If it breaks without me, you know what, take the pressure off yourself and let's do it together. All right. So say this: I miss trades every day. Okay. And that's okay, because there's always another trade around the corner. So take the pressure off your and realize you are going to miss things, and it's okay, because they're not shutting down the markets. So there will be other opportunities. And USD CAD, you know, when I look at it, gosh, it's really, you know, with the dollar having this kind of strength, USD CAD looks pretty ugly. So if it can't rally with the dollar being strong and having that big break that we had in crude, what's going to happen when the dollar peaks? And this is what I think is going to happen. Here's your weekly. Confirm low on the weekly. So when I look at this weekly chart, I don't know if this is a bottoming formation. Now I would need closes. If I was going to call this a bottom, here, let me do this. Don't buy Canada unless we have a breakout. And let's go with a horizontal line, and let's put it here against these highs here, 29.70. So if we get back above 29.70, that's a different story, but I'm not, you know, you have to be pretty disappointed if you're trying to buy Canada with the dollar doing, you know, what it's done, and Canada really not getting a boost. So I asked myself, if it can't do well with a tailwind, what's it going to do with a, you know, headwind? So that's pretty much my rundown here. Just want to touch upon oil. It's my view that this is going to be a failing rally in crude, and maybe it's up here around, you know, 115, 116, max 120. But I think this is a significant high. I know a lot of people think we're just going to blow to new highs, but the difference between what I showed you with confirmed highs is look at what crude did here. On the 4 hour, it diverged, right? You only see it on intraday charts. So it diverged also on the 2 hour. So crude I can be a little bit more confident. And I know it's hard to think that with what's going on, but I'm thinking this is going to be a failing rally in crude. So we'll see what happens going into, you know, I'll be talking to you again on Wednesday. And don't miss tomorrow's broadcast with Mike, and that's going to be at 11 a.m. EST. Mike, I'm going to ask Mike, you know, he's, you know, has some nice gains, if he's going to be booking them, what he might be looking for to buy on weakness should the S&Ps pull back. Also, there's a lot of Fed speak this week. I think you have 5 Fed speakers and central bankers, I think from all over the world, about 17. This is their week to make, you know, to make speeches. We have the summit in Brussels. There's a lot of headlines, but you know what, guys? There's always headlines. And if we're going to worry about headlines, why do the technical work that's filtering out in its own way what's happening? And, you know, certain things are discounting mechanisms. I know you could get run over by a fundamental event, you know, a big crisis like this. I know because, you know, I got caught short the oil after the invasion and was able to get out of the way. But we have to believe in what we're doing and trust it, so that when we get to levels we planned on buying, like maybe, you know, 108.80 here in the euro, and maybe won't get there, but it's my belief that euro has bottomed. This week's off number, the only way it closes down after giving a 2-week buy signal last week would be for it to close back under 109.12. So that's still 100 pips away from here. So I want to commend everyone that's watching this video, because it shows you want to learn and have patience with yourself like you have patience with the market, and realize that most good traders are at least a 4 or 5 year overnight success. Okay. So be patient with yourself. It's going to take time. You're learning a craft. And, you know, I'll use the analogy, if you're a plumber, you're an apprentice, and then you're a journeyman, and then you're a master. And that doesn't happen from reading a book on trading. Okay. Only use risk capital. Good hunting. I'll be back with Mike tomorrow. Our guest this week on TradeGATEHub is Vic Sperando. Many of you know him as Trader Vic. Has a, you know, a great reputation, and he's a market veteran, and I look forward to having him come to edify our community. So with that being said, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Remember to hit the like button if there was something that resonated with you, and we invite you to join us here in our main trade room. It's free. and we're not offering it free so we could sell you anything. So good hunting the rest of the day. Thanks for your attention.